My slides will be very concise because I want to drive in the main point, the 3 main points in every slide. Yeah, it's a big topic, the future of Islamic fintech. So I don't claim to be able to tell the future, but I'm just sharing some observations and some analysis that I have based on my experience and my network. Okay, first, let's look at some recent headlines. These are all headlines from the past 6 months. Bank Negara Malaysia says that Malaysia is an ideal test bed for fintech growth. Islamic fintech needs to be a boardroom priority for Islamic finance. Securities Commission establishes cooperation with different financial centers. Right? So these are regulators, ecosystem players getting involved. Further down, you can see global media channels, Forbes and The Economist. Can Islamic fintech power Western economies? Forbes is asking that question. The Economist says, the article, the race to become Islamic banking's fintech hub. And in Indonesia, fintech investments are at a record high. Now, these are all headlines from the past 6 months. So clearly, Islamic fintech or fintech in Islamic finance is a hot topic, right? But is this heat justified? Is it really something so important? Is it going to go somewhere? Will it fizzle out? Where is it? How many Islamic fintech players do you see out there? Right? So these are some issues that I want to highlight or some points that I want to touch on. Okay, this thing doesn't like me. All right. Oops. Okay. Yeah. It's a little bit small. Those funny droplets, I'll focus on that. The funny droplets there, you can see in different colors. In blue, these are about how the banks, the big banks, the Western banks mainly, engage with fintech. Yeah. So the blue one, the blue circle there, where you can see Barclays and a few other big banks, they have startup programs to incubate fintech companies. The pink ones, they partner with fintech companies. The green ones, ABN AMRO, for example, they launched their own fintech companies. The orange ones, Citibank, they acquire fintech companies, and 20% of the banks are setting up venture funds to invest in fintech companies. Right? Now, I'm highlighting this because I want to show or give the context of the general conventional fintech environment globally in terms of how fintech and the banks are engaging with each other. Right? So to summarize, banks do it themselves or try to partner or try to pump in some money to startups doing fintech. Yeah, and you can see all the big banks are doing it. Yeah? Okay. Here you see many small logos. This is the Islamic fintech landscape as publicized by Innovate Finance and Red Money. Now here, you see so many companies, but just a disclaimer at the bottom, these are bank fintechs plus fintechs with some Islamic windows or products, plus Islamic fintech startups, plus Muslim-owned fintech startups that may not be Sharia compliant, plus pilot platforms that may not really be functioning at all now. Yeah, that's why it looks like it's a lot, but in reality, it's still very small. Yeah, it's still very small, and that, inshallah, is set to change. I want to highlight big picture trends, and these trends, one of the charts here overlaps with a chart from the previous presentation, which is about the Muslim world. Yeah, I've highlighted 3 points here. Muslim population growth is incredible, it's fastest globally, and Muslims are going to be 1/3 of the world, right? Not all Muslims are practicing, but still there will be a percentage that will want Islamic products. Number 2, fintech investments have grown by 10 times in 5 years from 2010. And thirdly, Islamic finance itself continues to grow strongly. So these 3 big picture trends point to the need and the fact that Islamic fintech must and should be there and has a lot of room to grow. Right? Islamic fintech, based on population alone, the natural population of Muslims, based on fintech as a proven concept, and based on Islamic finance continuing to grow, Islamic fintech, it is a matter of time before it really starts to boom. Right? So what is this opportunity that we have? Here I summarize it as concisely as I can. The opportunity here is to create an ecosystem that is inclusive, firstly, based on Islamic principles and Muslim lifestyles, driven by bank fintech collaborations. This is what I personally believe. Collaboration is key to fintech growth, Islamic fintech growth globally. Right? So imagine how does that opportunity materialize? Right? So I want all of you to take a few moments to imagine. Banking while lying down, right? That's what our brother said here earlier. Banking while lying down, that's what we all do. But not only banking, giving zakat, giving sedekah, right? Making an endowment, wakaf, using your mobile, right? Today I have a bonus and I want to give $50 to wakaf. How do I do it? Right? I Google search, I look for a few, I figure out who I can trust, I figure out who I want to give to, right? But if it's all properly done in a proper fintech solution, then all of this will be at your fingertips, right? So that is the service, the things that you can do or that you will want to do with a fintech solution, Islamic fintech solution. Secondly, personalized and accessible, right? This app or this solution is based on what you want, based on your needs, based on your individual needs, not only your, in this sense, Islamic needs or religious needs, but your personal preferences. Right? When you give sedekah, some people want to give to education, some people want to give to the poor, some people want to give to victims of disasters. Right? So these are things that a good fintech solution will be able to intuitively tell and suggest to you. Yeah, come in, come in. Right. Smart contracts. Now, smart contracts will be the underlying system that will record things and make things move automatically. Yeah, so I won't go too much into that. And number three, this is incredibly important. And this is what really is lacking in today's financial system: transparency and effective circulation of wealth. Now, this sounds a bit abstract or big picture, but it is not that difficult after all. Right? All you need is a very good solution or a proper solution that has take-up and that people contribute to and facilitates what people want to do. Right? We're not reinventing anything, we're just enabling people to do what they want to do. Yeah? Now, the form of Islamic fintech, I want to highlight three forms. The first form is, it is based on community. Islamic fintechs, the opportunity for Islamic fintech that banks may have difficulty to access is to reach and to focus on and to develop communities, right? Circles and groups of people who want to do things together. Right? Banks are not able to reach down to that level. Fintechs can and should and will. Number two, values driven. Right? This is related to the earlier point. Fintech, Islamic fintech will grow based on value, right? Based on principles. We have a common understanding and a common appreciation of values. Yeah? And based on that, it will start to move and it will start to grow. And that goes on to the third point, mobile first. Islamic fintech is all about being mobile first. The Muslim world has skipped a little bit or has jumped forward to using the mobile device. Right? Many people in Indonesia would never have a computer, but they have a smartphone. Or never had a computer, but they have a smartphone, for example. The Muslim world is a mobile market. Yeah? So these are the three core forms or main forms that I see in Islamic fintech moving forward. Okay. So what is needed to achieve this? Firstly, visionary leaders. That's always in short supply. Yeah? Visionary leaders, not only in the startups, but in the ecosystem. Right? From the regulators, from the facilitators, from the investors. I feel that there is this gap in terms of Islamic investors or investments or angel investors. There's not enough uptake or to take up the risk to invest in startups. But there are signs that this is changing. I'll highlight later on. And number three, of course, number two, that is the second point. Institutions and Muslim angels need to start putting their money into fintech. whether it is internal or whether it is in collaborations or investments, but this needs to happen and it needs to happen fast, right? If not, then startups will find a way to do it without the banking system, and that will take a much, much longer time. Yeah, that's what I believe. And number 3, of course, is mass education. And this is, in theory, the easier part, right? Okay. So this is the shareable slide. If you want, you can take a picture. Feel free to share on LinkedIn. If you do, tag me, Umar Munshi. Right, now, this is what I believe will be the future of Islamic fintech. And this is what's already happening, for example, in China. Yeah? Islamic finance super app. There will be super apps emerging that can do everything a Muslim wants to do when it comes to transactions. A super app that will handle your banking, your sadaqah, your zakat, your wakaf, your investments, everything, right? A super app is like what we have in China. We have WeChat and a few other super apps over there. Secondly, there will be regional leaders. In fintech, you have global leaders, the conventional fintech. In Islamic fintech, I believe it will be regional, not global, because of cultural differences and because of even differences in interpretation of the religion. And because it's very community-based, it will eventually, I believe, inshallah, be regional-based. So there will be regional dominant players, yeah, for Islamic fintech. And the third one is Islamic fintech, assuming we are already working with the Islamic banks, will collaborate with conventional fintech. When I speak to fintech founders in the conventional space, they are excited and interested, and they find it very unique and interesting, right? Islamic finance. They look at the principles and they're like, oh, this is amazing. We never knew there's such a thing. But they are not thinking about going there, in general, yeah? In general. Based on my experience, they're not thinking of going there because they say, this is your community, your space. You're disrupting it for your people. We would love to help, we would love to be part of it, but I don't think I'm the right person to drive it. And that's what these founders tell me. So what is needed is collaboration. We work with them, they work with us. We serve our market, they serve their market, and we help each other. Yeah? So these are 3 things that I predict, inshallah, we will see in the future. And future today in the tech world is not in 5 years' time. Future is probably next year. Right? Yeah, inshallah. Okay. This may be a bit controversial. I just want to highlight here. I'm going to compare 4 Islamic economy startups. Right? We have Muslim Pro. How many of you have Muslim Pro on your phone? Yeah, most of you, right? So Muslim Pro is from Singapore. Yay. Muslim Pro is from Singapore. Recently, it was acquired. So if you see the first category there, funding, they get 4 ticks, right? Beside it, you have Wahid Invest, which is a Sharia-compliant robo-advisor from the US. Beside that, you have Launch Good, which is social or charity crowdfunding for Muslims in the US. And last but not least, we have Ethis Ventures, which is our business. The 4 categories I have on the left: funding, deal flows, users and traction, and the last one is global Islamic economy, stakeholder relationships. Right? I'm hoping from these 4, we will have regional leaders, inshallah. Now, in terms of funding, the first 2 have a lot of money, right? And that is brilliant. I'm very happy that they got so much money because that helps me get more funding, inshallah, right? Muslim Pro, they have an 8-figure valuation for their acquisition, which is huge, right? I don't know, 30 million, 50 million. I have not gotten that figure, but I'll get it soon. Wahid Invest, they got an investment of $5 million early this year. And just last month, they got another investment of $7 million. So $12 million invested in that company this year. It's only 2 years old. LaunchGood has not gotten any funding, and they're not interested to get funding. They are doing it purely organically. And for Ethis, we have 1 tick. Yeah, so not so full. About 2 years ago, we got a seed investor, which is a Malaysian law firm. And that's what has got us to where we are today. Yeah. Now, the second one is deal flows. LaunchGood has incredible deal flow. Wahid has no products. They had to create their own product to put onto their robo-advisor platform because there were no products or not enough suitable products to put on their platform that are Sharia compliant. So that is something that they needed to do. LaunchGood has got great, incredible traction. They have a few 100,000 active members. They have thousands of campaigns. And for Ethis, we have a good and strong proof of concept. Yeah. So that's deal flow. Traction, of course, Muslim Pro. Everybody uses Muslim Pro, millions of users. Wahid Invest, and for Ethis, we have tens of thousands of users. Launch Good, we have hundreds of thousands of users. And the last point here is global Islamic economy stakeholder relationships. This ties back to what I was talking about earlier, which is there is a need to collaborate with the incumbents or with the banks. So these relationships become ever more important. Yeah, Wahid has excellent relationships. They are investors, Islamic economy big shots who have been there from the very beginning and who invested in them as angels. Ethis, alhamdulillah, recently over the past year, we had investors come in, partners come in, especially in our joint ventures in other countries, and they are also Islamic economy leaders. So these are 4 startups. Of course, it is not a disclaimer, this is just my observation or my opinion, and it may not be 100% accurate. Yeah, but it gives you a good snapshot of some of the current early leaders. Right? I won't say we are there yet, Ethis is still very small, but we are one of the early leaders, alhamdulillah. Right? So here, I'm on to the last part, and I'm already 5 minutes late. This is what we have done, and this is what we do right now. We have 2 platforms in Singapore and 2 platforms in Malaysia, so I have a foot on both sides. Right? We have investment platforms in Singapore for real estate and SMEs. We have a charity platform in Malaysia called Sekolah Fund. And we have the Nusa Capital platform, which is a licensed platform, licensed by Securities Commission, Malaysia. How many of you have ever tried to do a crowdfunding transaction? Done? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, not bad. Very impressive and very exciting. Those who have not tried before, if you'd like to help, for example, the easiest for you to do is donation. Yeah? Just go to sekolahfund.com, look at the students there who need assistance to complete their education, and give 10 ringgit, give 50 ringgit. Just that one experience of giving 10 ringgit will help you to understand how this is different from giving money to a donation box. Right? So please, take 10 minutes after this and just try it out. Just give 5 ringgit, 10 ringgit. Right? Then I'll call the Sekolah Fund guys to put more campaigns there so you can fund them. A little bit about us, very quickly, before I'll wrap up. We have strong entrepreneurs, alhamdulillah. Joanne is here, our COO. We have Shamil, Forbes 30 under 30 entrepreneur. We have Ronald in Indonesia. We've been doing business together for 12 years. My first business in Indonesia was with him. Alhamdulillah, now we have high-level experience. These are some of our partners who have equity in the company or in one of our associated companies. In Indonesia, we have a former bank managing director. In Malaysia, we have Dato' Razif, former CEO of SME Bank. We have, what is the wrong name there? We have Early, we have from Barclays, from Dow Jones, from big companies. So alhamdulillah, before they came in, we achieved initial traction, organic traction. To go on to the next level, I knew that I had to have people with the correct relationships. I am building the relationship, but it takes a long time to do it yourself. So alhamdulillah, these guys came forward and we worked together, and now they are helping us to go on to the next level, inshallah. Compliance is very important. We have law firms, Sharia advisors, as well as internal Sharia advisors. So for Nusa Capital, we have to go to 3 levels of Sharia compliance. Internally, we have our Sharia officers. Then they will pass it on to our external Sharia advisor, which is ISRA. And from there, it will go to the Sharia Advisory Council of the Securities Commission. So the Sharia screening process is quite tough, but it needs to be done. And over time, technology will come in to disrupt it and make it faster, cheaper, easier. Yeah, that's what we're working on also. And that's it. Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much.